Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Paul Elam with a Voice for Men, and we are going to be having a worldwide discussion here. I'm sitting here in Houston. I've got Sage Gerard out in the great state of Georgia, and David Williams across the pond, all the way down under. And we're going to have a little discussion about the Red Pill movie. Just a moment of introduction about this story. The Red Pill movie is causing quite a splash and an equally large amount of butt hurt in the feminist community, particularly apparently in Australia, where they want the movie banned. They do not want you to see this movie. And you know what? If I was a feminist, I wouldn't want you to see this movie either. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't want anybody to see it. But needless to say, most of you who have not been living under a rock are already aware that the movie was scheduled to be screened in Melbourne, Australia. And the feminists got them a little petition together and made some noise and whined their way into having the movie pulled from that venue where it won't be shown. Not to be held back and not to be stopped, though. David Williams of Men's Rights Australia, I believe it is. Is it Men's Rights Australia, David?
Men's Rights Melbourne, but I also work with Men's Rights Australia.
I knew I'd fuck something up. Men's Rights Melbourne wasn't going to be held back, and undaunted, he proceeded ahead and had a fundraiser, and the movie is coming. But before we get to that, I want to talk a little bit about the backstory to this, because as I understand, it's been quite a saga. With that, I want to say hi, everybody, Sage Gerard.
Hello. Sorry, had to unmute my mic.
All right, that's no problem. I wanted to give Sage his opportunity to say hello, because we're going to steal the floor from everybody and give it to David for the next few minutes to just give us an idea of what has gone on in this crazy censorship-laden odyssey that's happened over the past several weeks in Melbourne. If you would, please, David, take it away.
All right. Basically, it all started when I was checking. Oh, I got an echo there. Is that okay? Anyway, sorry. It all started a few weeks ago. I was inspecting the cinema, and I got off the question, "This isn't about the Red Pill Reddit, is it?" by the manager. And I was like, no, not at all. And I explained that, it's all about men's rights and the issues they face. And stuff like Cassie J, who's a feminist filmmaker. And then she goes, good, because some of my staff has shown concern after Googling the Red Pill. I was like, oh, no. So I get home and I get an email saying, you need to have a government authorized exemption to have the film shown here. Usually that takes 28 business days. And they gave me 12 days notice. I somehow managed to convince someone in the Film Association of Classification Board to convince me to have that exemption done in 24 hours instead of 28 days. And then one day later, the petition started with Susie Smith and saying, this movie's evil. It said all the stuff with your, past dated, 1,000 times done quotes, and saying this movie must be shut down. And, one day after that, I got an email from the cinema saying, after an unprecedented number of complaints, I'm sorry, we're going to have to shut down your film and we apologize, goodbye. Whew. After that, it led to me calling about roughly 42 separate venues saying, can you please show this film, including all the major cinemas. I got rejection after rejection after rejection until I finally found the one venue willing to accept us. And the only thing was it was going to cost 8 times more than the original venue. So we didn't have the type of money, and we started our crowdfunding campaign, which is on ozcrowdfund.com. After that, it's just been interviews with the newspapers, offers of the interview with the radios. It's been non-stop. And I hope that clarified it easy enough.
You raised the money over 73. You went well over your goal. Last I checked, you were at least a couple $100 over your goal. How long did it take you from the time that you launched the fundraiser until you had the $7,300+ you needed in order to secure that venue?
I'd say roughly 72 hours.
3 days.
Yeah, 3 days. Yeah, absolutely. I was amazed. I can't believe it got that much that fast. Even with, like, as soon as we launched it, we're like, oh no, like, we didn't expect that level of donations that quick, that fast. We're like, make sure your PayPal's right. Make sure your BSB account's right. Quick to the computers.
Well, David.
It was horrifying. Yeah. Go.
Well, David, let me just say, you mentioned you made 42 calls. Was that right?
Yes.
Well, let me just compliment you on your perseverance, because that,
Yeah.
I still have trouble. I begrudgingly call Comcast when my Wi-Fi's down. So the fact that you went that far and made sure that you had another venue, that speaks a lot to your dedication and your ability to get this shit done and get this shit organized. So props to you for that. Now,
sorry, before you compliment me too much, we have had volunteers who have helped me with that. We had a few guys working, but yes, thank you.
Well, good to them as well. And to Men's Rights, are they all in Men's Rights Melbourne?
All these guys. One of these guys is directly associated with Men's Rights Melbourne. The other guy is just a dedicated volunteer.
Well, that's absolutely amazing that you all were able to make that happen. Although I am sorry that this had to have happened. I really, this is just another example in a long list of businesses that are too cowardly to just ignore the complaints and do their jobs, which is what part of your job as a business owner, if you're making space available for these kinds of things, is to be neutral. If somebody doesn't like the fact that this is being hosted there, it doesn't mean that the business takes the stance of the customer that's actually organizing this event. But
exactly.
It just kind of disturbs me that this tactic continues to work, where you just pressure a business until it folds. And I'm wondering if there's any kind of not only do we have this pattern of this happening, I'm wondering if there's any way we could talk to the businesses and just tell them why what they did was wrong, but then figure out if there's a way to make it easier for them to ignore those complaints and even make a little more money if they weren't such cowards. Have you learned anything from this process where you thought if you were to approach it, the business owners a little differently and warning them that maybe this kind of shit would go down? Do you think that these complaints wouldn't have worked?
Well, here's the thing. I was working with them for a few months, and I was trying to be as clear as possible that this is a controversial topic. It's men's rights. It's done by Cassie J. She's done pro-life issues. She's done abstinence issues. She's done LGBT. It's all very controversial. I tried to make it as clear as possible. They did say after the fact that they could have warned us that some of the people in the movies had once said controversial things, but I think that's an unrealistic expectation to put on someone
on earth in that
to show a movie.
Who said controversial things?
I have no idea, Paul. Not a clue.
Man, I'm befuddled.
Yeah. It's not like you were featured in the petition.
It must have been Sage Gerard.
Yeah, it must have been Sage. Must have been.
Yeah, absolutely. Or Aaron Pitsey.
Yeah. Aaron, it must have been, the very first women's shelter. It must have been her. That evil patriarch.
Can we bring up that petition again and how fucking stupid it was? I mean, almost everything in there was wrong. All of it. Like, I haven't seen one thing in there that could be verified, even with a Google search. It's all just the same rehash shit from 100,000 years ago. Yeah. I mean, Paul, you did a video on this already, but
yes, I did.
Well,
the one thing that they did get one thing right in quoting what I had said about the matter of jury nullification. They did get it right verbatim, but they did not at all address my rationale for that. They made it just sound like that I wanted rapists to walk free on the street, which I, of course, do not want to happen. But other than that, I mean, the closest they got to anything that was true in that petition was an isolated quote by me, completely out of context and without explanation of what I had said. The rest of it was just outright bullshit, just complete lies.
Absolutely.
And so we I guess what I'm wondering, David, is what it was like for you. Did you anticipate a problem when you booked this movie?
Okay, I don't know. I anticipated a problem after the movie, not before. I didn't expect there to be a massive protest before it. I expected there to be some sort of media presence or some sort of complaints or feminist presence after the movie, not before. And that's what made it difficult.
Yeah, something else I want to add to this that I think it just needs to be said out of common human decency. And while I certainly don't agree at all with anything that I've ever heard from Clementine Ford, I think thanks are in order to Clementine. So Clementine, if you're watching this, I want to thank you for setting a depraved standard in Australia for absolute bottom of the barrel moral depravity being preached under the banner of feminism, because it was those of your ilk that moved toward getting this movie banned. And then, of course, that set off all right-minded people in Australia, because there's been a ton of media, even by feminists out there, that are like, what the fuck? Like your book burning now? And they are saying they want to see the movie. So Clementine, thank you very much. I have another offer for you coming up at the end of this talk, but I'll wait till we get to the end of that. But I just can't thank Clementine Ford, Germaine Greer, and those of her ilk enough for their contribution to putting this movie on the map in the way that they have.
Oh yeah, I did want to. Sorry, so you go ahead.
I was just telling Paul the other day that feminists hate us is like a new marketing sticker, kind of like as seen on TV. Really,
Yes.
They do you a favor every time they go off and they try to pull this Orwellian bullshit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I did want to go on and thank. I don't know if you guys saw her articles in the Herald Sun. Catherine Powley. She did not one, not two, but three positive articles defending not the Red Pill movie, but the men's rights issues, and also making it a thing. She even made one letting us know that it's so serious that we need to do covert security and higher security to get the new venue and its attendees protected. So I just wanted to thank her publicly, because she's been really fair and kind and balanced.
Yes, she has. And matter of fact, I had a personal email exchange with her, and she was very courteous. I think very professional in the way and she is a feminist. So the people who don't know her should know that she identifies as a feminist, but she came out very admirably against the suppression of free speech and for the presentation of this movie so people could see it and make up their own minds. I agree with you. She did a great job.
Yeah.
Now, David, do you anticipate needing security? Do you think somebody's going to be physically dangerous?
I have a strong suspicion that there's going to be serious issues unless I take every possible measure I can. Sure. I have a strong suspicion that there are even protesters within the attendees. Somewhat like the Milo thing.
Oh, okay.
You know how they come in and they start going, rah, 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 rah. I have no proof of this, but I have a strong suspicion that one of the people who are attending plan to do that.
And so will there be security there to get them out? Okay.
Yes, I've invested. Well, that's what part of the stretch goal is about, is completely covering our butts on all the costs involved with security, which is bordering over $1,000 at this point. You know, letting the local police departments know about exactly what's going on. Getting a situation where we're not even going to tell people about the location. We're going to have a meetup point and then deliver them to the venue.
Now, let me ask a question that you may not be able to answer fully, but I just want to take a shot at it anyway. I've seen at the protests that they've had in Canada, you know, where they're pulling fire alarms and pounding sticks on the floor and screaming and yelling and beating pots and blowing horns to prevent speakers from speaking. With all the respect to the RCMP, to Canadian police officials, they pussied out completely on actually doing anything about it. I know that, for instance, in Houston, if you pulled that in a theater, you would be leaving in handcuffs in about 15 seconds. What's your take on Australian authorities and their willingness to make sure that those who interrupt with the viewing of this film would be ushered out in an expeditious way?
Well, this is where it gets a bit more complicated. Because at this building, I hope that the security do their job and like fantastic. I'm sure they will be. I don't know about the police department. I don't know if they will pursue charges if anyone does anything of that level. It's why I originally picked the Palace, the venue I picked in the first place, is because within that complex is a government building of ASIO, which is basically our version of the CIA. They have an office there. And if they pull the fire alarm there, it would have not just been federal crime, it would have been terrorism. That's why I picked the original venue. I don't know about this one. I think with the security and everything we're doing, there shouldn't be a problem. But if there is, I don't know what the police will do about it. I really don't know.
Now, David.
It's 50-50. Yeah, go ahead.
This is half question, half comment. Back at the original ICMI, we had a problem with a kind of espionage. There's that one blogger, Dark Horse. See, she had connections through, I believe, Jeff Charlotte from GQ and his friends. And what she did was she found out where all the speakers were staying there, the hotel, which was meant to be non-disclosed. And she ended up waiting in the lobby in order to collect information and mess with people. Now, if that espionage is possible, that means somebody, around you could share information to disclose info you don't want disclosed. Do you have contingency plans in case there's a leak?
Yes, we do. We've got several people who I know wouldn't be part of espionage, quote unquote, who are going to be the ones who, I guess, how do I put this? Vet the people coming in, to make sure that there's everyone's safe. Because as I said, safety is key at this point.
Do you have an idea, David, at this point of how your seating is going? Have you halfway filled the house, 3/4? Do you know anything about attendance?
Well, as I said, it's very difficult with using the funding campaign we've used, and unfortunately, it's just difficult to ascertain. We've made it so it's sold out. We know at least 130 seats have been filled out of 160. Sorry. There's probably more filled, and I'm going to leave a few more for a few of the enthusiastic media people who've helped me. I'm going to give them a personal invite.
Okay, and let me just interject this, a follow-up to what Sage said, as we found out at ICMI 14. Guys, if you're attending this movie and all of a sudden a strange girl starts hitting on you, your red flag should be going absolutely freaking crazy.
Yes.
Yes.
Then get away.
Yes.
Don't even think for a minute that this is real, because we know that feminists will send very attractive women into MRA circles to put them in compromising positions so that they can spread all over the media. I went to the Red Pill movie and I was raped in the 4th row. And don't put it past them. They'll do that.
Yeah, not just that, but also, I think you were saying this very strongly in the first ICMI 15. Do not respond in any way, no matter how hard they push. If they try to make you yell, scream, just stay calm, record, keep going. We don't need any people responding to threats or anger or anything like that.
And, of course, always be recording. The additional thing, the press...
Except don't record the movie when it's showing, folks. That's illegal.
Of course not.
Yes, that good catch. But when you're dealing with the press, sometimes if you're just out there, you've never been interviewed by the press before, you like the idea of being on a blog, having somebody write about you or appearing on TV, Don't let that romantic thought take hold of you. They're not your friend. They will take whatever you say and use it to fulfill their own agenda. Whenever you talk to a member of the press for any reason, record the interview as well. Everybody's got a smartphone. Record that son of a bitch. And then if you have any reason to suspect that the reporter is biased, then publish the recording of the interview before they write something, because that often jeopardizes whatever editorial bias they'd introduce. If you were to try to do it after the fact, that's fine too. The recording helps, but doing it beforehand often makes editors back away because they want to have that first impression. If you take the first impression away from them, you gain a lot of leverage. So always be recording and don't trust the press.
Yes.
Yeah. Trust them about as much as Donald Trump does.
Yeah, everyone. That's what I'm saying. Everyone tread very lightly and be wary of his surroundings. Is how I'm going to say that.
You know, we get accused sometimes of being somewhat paranoid in our approach. Folks, it's not paranoia when they really are out to get you. And this is a situation where there will be. I can almost promise you that at this screening, somebody is going to be out to create a threat narrative out of the attendees. They don't want this movie spreading out through the rest of Australia. They don't want more and more people to see it. And of course, if they try and fail, then that just means a lot more people are going to end up seeing it. But don't be stupid. Don't be sucked in by an attractive female. Don't be sucked in by a media person. What Sage says was gold. If somebody asks you if you want to give some comments for the camera, hold up your smartphone, start recording and say, sure, I'll be happy to give you a comment, and record the whole thing, because whatever they put on the internet about your comments, however they dice it up and edit it, you can have the full version that you can put up and people can link it in their comments and get it out there. But don't assume for a moment that anybody in the media, unless their name is Bettina Arndt or Miranda Devine or Corinne Barraclough, then you can't trust them. Just absolutely, if you'll pardon the pun, sage advice coming there.
Yeah.
Now, David, you mentioned 130 something. What was it? What was the figure?
About 130 to 140.
Out of 160?
No, that's personally confirmed.
Okay.
As I say, it's hard to explain, but with the combination of the original Eventbrite seating and with the combination of the new one, I need to filter exactly who has bought a ticket, who's bought a ticket a second time, even though they bought a ticket for the original event. I need to do all those little complicated weavings and find out the exact number. But it's 140 confirmed. I believe it's around 130 actual.
Well, I think that since you've gotten your fundraising goals met in 72 hours, it's safe to say that your seats will fill up about as quickly. Now, does every screening involve a visit from Cassie or from Red Pill staff? How is it working for you guys? Who's coming to visit you?
I don't believe we have anyone personally coming to visit us. We have asked Cassie to do a little Hello Australia recording, and she's very busy, so I'm hoping that can be, I don't know what that's going to be. It's just based on her time constraints, I guess.
So could you tell us a little bit about how you would organize your Q&A and further audience engagement activities, things like that?
Oh, well, as I plan to just have a little speech at the start, thanking everyone for going, talking to about it. If they guess they want to do a Q&A, they can. It's a bit of a weird thing. I'm not used to this. I don't know if fame's the right word, but I'm not used to this level of attention, and has come very suddenly. And I'm very like, oh, you want to talk about the news? Sure. I'll take an interview.
Well, that's
very strange.
Wonderful, because even the hit pieces are good for the movie. Matter of fact, the hit pieces have been very good to the men's movement for a long time now, and they continue to be good. Can you tell us a little bit, David, about your stretch goals, what you're looking for and why? I'm going to be putting a link to your funder in the low bar to this when it goes up. Where are you at with your stretch goals, with security needs, or anything else that you need, so that we can give people the reason why they need to go in there and either buy a ticket or throw some money in the tip jar to help you out with covering this whole event?
All right. Well, now we've covered the event, so it's insured. But we've invested a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of effort into making this a thing. We want to get like the media wall. We want to make this not just a movie watching thing, but an event where people can pose in front of a media wall, have their pictures done, have it be a professional event that's remembered for years to come. Part of that is with the stretch goal, getting the media wall. Another part is covering all the costs of the volunteers and the security and everyone else. You know, some people have put up to 300 hours into this, how making this event a reality.
Wow. And
they deserve some sort of, even if it's only a small thing for their thank you, you know. Another part of that is, like, you know, food, catering, all that type of stuff. It all depends on how much we can do, but it's making this just from a movie screening now into a red carpet event.
Absolutely. And a red carpet event it should be. I know I got to attend the ones in New York and Los Angeles, and they were a huge part of the entire evening. I mean, the movie itself, and I can tell people that are going to go see it, you're going to love it, unless you're a feminist, and you're going to probably have some sort of convulsive seizure before it's halfway through. But if you support the issues faced by men and boys, you'll be fist pumping all the way through this movie. It's that good. But another part of the greatness of those events in Los Angeles and New York was just prior to the screening, all the photography going on, the buzz in the crowd, and then of course everybody going out afterward and talking about the movie and sharing their experience. The entire evenings were just fantastic, and it does take a lot of effort to put something like that together. A lot of people don't realize how much work that is. It's not just, you know, hand the movie theater the DVD and wait for it to fill. It's a lot of work. And people like David have been going up against the entirety of the Australian press and feminist establishment in order to get this done. So please go to the low bar and throw some money in the tip jar for these guys and help them make this an event that will spawn more of them all the way across the great country of Australia.
Thank you.
Except in the outback.
Yeah. But it's all been very, very, you're right about that whole, it's not just putting their DVD. It's like, this started a few months ago with my friend of mine who had a license because he donated $1,000 to the original Kickstarter. It's like, hey, Dave, how do you like to organize a screening? I was like, sure, why not? And then
easy, right?
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, we'll just put something online, people will show up, and that'll be it. Yeah.
No. It's been big.
So is there anything that either Sage or I haven't asked you about this whole experience, about the event itself? I mean, for instance, like not where is it, but when is it? And whatever times you can tell us, and anything else you want to say about the event.
All right, well, it's still on the 6th of November. We wanted to ensure that was on the same date as it was originally, because over 20% of the attendees originally traveled interstate or even international to get to this thing. Some people traveled as far as New Zealand to come to the Australian premiere of The Red Pill. So that's why we wanted to make sure it was on the same date, 6th of November. It's going to be in the evening. It is going to be near the city. That's as much as I can say regarding that.
Right. But you do have something in place to advise all the ticket purchasers of where to go when the event comes.
Absolutely. We're initiating I guess, I don't know what you'd call it, but a plan to get everyone who has a ticket or everyone who's attending a way to go from where we're going to the venue safely.
Excellent.
If that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Anything else? Sage, you got any more questions?
Nope. David, I think you've done an absolutely wonderful job, as well as the volunteers who have been helping you. And I think everything is going to go wonderfully for you, the Red Pill, and Australia in general in the long run.
Thank you very much. You guys are
And
great.
speaking of Australia, before we get out of here, I have a little topic to cover very briefly. For those feminists who are outraged that the Red Pill movie is being shown at a theater in Australia, hopefully a lot more theaters than just the one. There's more coming. June the 9th through the 11th of next year, just not that far away, just about 8 months away, the third International Conference on Men's Issues will be held at Gold Coast. And I can tell you that that too will include a screening of the Red Pill movie with some surprise guests alongside that. Tickets will start selling in about a week. We have a tremendous lineup of speakers coming to that event. And we are going to bring the message of that movie and a whole lot more. People like Bettina Arndt will be doing the keynote speech for it. Miranda Devine will be speaking. We have Augusto Zimmerman, a noted Australian legal scholar, will be speaking at that event. Other people, Mike Buchanan, myself, Karen Strawn, Janice Fiamingo. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of all the people that will be coming to speak at that event, which will include yet another screening of the Red Pill movie. Can't wait for this to happen. Like I said, follow avoiceformen.com. You will see, and you won't be able to miss it because we're going to be promoting the hell out of this. But tickets will go on sale in about 1 week. It'll be on the beautiful Gold Coast of Australia, really an amazing area, in June of next year. And David, we certainly hope to see you there for that.
I'll be there.
And Sage Gerard, we need you to come too, by the way. I'm sure that just flying off to Australia is no problem for you.
Yeah, it's only a 20-hour plane trip. That's all.
Yeah, nothing to it.
I'm more worried about the fucking huntsman spiders and snakes and the scorpions that like own their own home. Like I don't.
Well, I was thinking, hey, David, what do you think? Could we tie a rope around Sage and use him for crock bait? Just hold it above the water.
Sure. Yeah, that'll break wide bait.
Paul's got more meat on him.
Yeah. Yeah. Paul's got more brains on him too. You're the bait. I'm the fisherman. Okay. Well, want everybody to look forward to that. David, like Sage said, I want to echo that. Thank you for your perseverance in this, for not giving up, for not taking defeat, for not letting the bullies push you around and stop this movie from happening. This movie is, I'm not doing any spoilers, but I will tell you, it is a game changer for the men's movement, an absolute game changer. It must be seen. Also, don't pirate the son of a bitch, guys. Cassie J and her production company put 3.5 years of their lives, all their money. They're way in the hole from doing this. Please don't pirate this thing. Please just be a little bit patient. It will be out for DVD and download, and help them recoup some of their enormous resources they have dumped into this. Or go see it. By all means, there's a link in the low bar. Go see it in Melbourne if you're there, or if you can get there, or hitchhike, or steal a car. Do whatever you got to do, and just get to Melbourne and see this movie. With that, I'll leave it to you guys for any last comments, and then we will check out.
So you would download a car?
Yes, I download a car. Absolutely. I've got a 3D printer too. We'll just download it and build it.
All right. Yeah. I just want to thank you guys for having me here and letting me talk about it. And this has been an awesome experience. After all the trudging through the mud, I'm really excited at this point.
Outstanding. And with that, we're going to close up, guys. But of course, I want to remind everybody, as we do on many of the AVFM broadcasts and AEFM broadcasts, remember, take the red pill.